Super Kick Weekly. Yes, we're fabulous. I don't know. Something like that. What is up? Super Kick Weekly in the house. Brand, Big Vito T, Big Vito T. What up?
Super Kick Weekly. What up, Brad?
Boom, boom, wow, wow.
What are we doing? We're, we're rocking.
Oh, I don't know. I was trying to do
Oh,
a thing
what's
there.
up? Uh, what's going on? What's up
Nah,
in the wrestling world?
there's a few things going on.
Yeah,
It's your weekly source of wrestling news and entertainment right here, as only we can bring
we
it
do.
to you
We do chat about wrestling sometimes
every now and then.
and nonsense wrestling and nonsense wrestling.
I had a profound thought right before we jumped on here.
All right.
As I mentioned, I was getting some food for the kiddos, and uh, one kid tries to sneak off with the plate of pizza into their room, and I'm like, "Well, what are you doing?" You know, and they know that like they're not supposed to be eating up in their room. That's kind of like a thing. And so he's like, well, I don't have anything to watch because this kid in question has lost their device, their tablet device, which is like the lifeline.
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean? So
ain't that the truth?
it was just like, man, you can't just watch like what's on TV or whatever, because his brother is out there controlling the television, watching whatever. It's like you can't just watch what he's watching, even if it's just for like 20 minutes. Like how that concept is so like removed. Are we
Yeah.
too into our own things now that we have like phones? And that's basically what I'm getting at, Vito. Do you feel like we're all in our own worlds more than we should be, or
Yes.
is that just like on a person to person thing?
I'm not afraid to admit that me and my wife will sit in the same living room and stare at our phones and not even talk to each other for like. And then I'll realize, oh, hey, it's been a while since we even talked to each other. What's up? How's it going over there?
It happens. It
It's,
happens to everyone,
it's
right?
the phones, man. Yeah, it's the
Right.
phones. And it's like, geez, let's just set this down and see how we did today.
It's interesting being in your own like it doesn't happen often, but sometimes it'll sync up where, the wife's sitting there and she's watching like the like TikToks or Facebook reels or whatever the hell. And I'll get like caught on some. I don't do the TikTok thing, but sometimes I get stuck on those Facebook reels. And it's like the comparing and contrasting of like the different things that we're being sent. They're completely
Yeah,
different in the same household at the same time, but they're like catered to each other. All of her stuff is like beauty stuff and this and that, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And all my
yeah.
stuff is like wrestling and like music and other like comedy shit. And, you know what I mean? It's just, I
It's
don't know.
games for us.
And game, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, she'll play her game. She plays a Walking Dead game, and I play a couple different games, and then I'll switch to like reading news articles and stuff like that. So
Okay.
browsing Twitter. Twitter's my thing. Browse through Twitter.
See, that's interesting that you guys have separate games. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? And that like you each be into the game. Like, I don't
I
know.
don't like her game.
See,
I
that's
can't.
the
I
thing.
can't do it. There's too much stuff going on. She plays a Walking Dead game. I don't know the name of it. Survival something something. I don't know. They're not our sponsor. We don't have to talk about them. But so and I play a game for a minute or two, then lose interest, and then I'll go read some news about you know wrestling stuff, and then that'll lead me to Twitter, and I'll just scroll through Twitter until I get bored. But the only people I follow are wrestlers. I only follow wrestlers on Twitter. Nobody else. So I don't follow no toxic stuff. The only thing I hear about is what other wrestlers post.
I have a weird social because I have to like or have and had controlled so many different accounts for like so many different like projects. It's almost like it's hard for me, especially Twitter, because I have all these accounts that are basically just like junk. Like a bunch of them are wrestling, yes. Some of them are like music related, or whatever, or other stuff, and the feed is a little bit more different, but or sports,
Hey,
yeah. Like I have a sports Twitter, I have a wrestling Twitter.
I used to mix it between. It used to be like 3/4 wrestling, 1/4 politics. But I got rid of all the politics
Ooh,
and put the politics on one Twitter over here.
politic political Twitter, man.
Yeah,
That's a tough scene right there. Tell you what,
it is. It is. That's why I don't go to it very often. I go to it when something happens. You know what I mean? I'll go check it out and see what people are saying. But
right?
I stay out of the politics the best I can these days.
Well, not to
But
get off on a moral tangent there, but it was, it's just I don't know. It's just I was just thinking about that as we came on the air here, and just man, things are different. You sent me that meme about the different activities that you've done and stuff, and
oh
how a
yeah,
lot of them are being blocked out. Um,
yeah.
Apparently, just sitting and watching the same show is becoming what I mean, like less and less
Daughter, two things. One thing from what you just said, my daughter told me. She said, "Dad, you know how you get songs stuck in your head?" Yeah, of course I know how I get songs stuck in my head. She goes, "Well, I've watched this show so many times. I have an episode stuck in my head," and I'm like, "You got to be kidding me! Get out of here!"
bro, that
So
happens.
that's the type of things.
I do movie quotes all the time, so like
Yeah, movie
definitely
quotes. Yeah, but she said she has an entire episode stuck in her head.
right.
I'm like, all right, well, that's good.
Sometimes you would take the movie quote though too far, and you could literally probably do the whole movie if you like kept going. Something I
Oh,
mean,
there's some movies I could probably quote. Yeah.
there's a couple movies I used to be able to do that with. I don't know so much anymore, not as sharp as I used to be probably, but
Uh,
be
some
that
people would
as it
get me
may.
on. Some people would get me stuck on doing Forrest Gump. I can't stop.
Forrest Gump, really?
Yeah, yeah, I
Okay.
love it.
I love
But
Forrest Gump too, but there's
yeah,
only little bits and pieces of like dialogue that that like stand out to me in it. It's
no,
not something I usually end up quoting a lot.
when me and certain people get together and we're sitting there together smoking or whatever, and we hear someone say Alabama, we cannot help ourselves. This Greenbow, Alabama. Every time we hear the word Alabama, we immediately go straight to that. Yeah, it's
I
triggers. There's
love that.
triggers.
I love that.
Yeah.
Greenbow,
Anyway.
yeah, maybe you should go back to your home in Greenbow, Alabama.
Yeah. Yep. Good
Okay.
stuff, man. Yep.
All
Yep.
right. Well, speaking of
Yeah.
Alabama,
Really.
I don't know.
What
I
I was
thought
like, where you start thinking like,
I
what's
was
going on now?
I was trying to pull out some kind of miracle segue there, and it didn't end up happening.
Speaking of, I love Forrest Gump forever. I got Fight Forever news.
Let's kick it off with that. Yeah, I mean, let's kind of pick up where we left off because that's kind of where we left off last week. This is
Okay.
Super Kick
So,
Weekly. We are talking about
yeah.
wrestling world stuff. This video game comes out in 10 days, and it's something that's
Oh man.
important to a lot of us.
So we've talked about the roster the last 2 weeks in different ways. And from everything I've read, the roster we've talked about is the roster. I have not heard anything different. So the people we discussed not making it in probably are not making it in. Most sadly to me is Evil Uno. I feel bad for him. If I feel really bad for
Telling
Evil
you, man,
Uno.
secret code. It's going to be a secret code on the game. I tell you
I
that.
hope so. I hope there's some way to pull Evil Uno out of here somehow. But I feel bad for him. But I found the date releases for the DLC packs.
Oh,
I
okay.
found
So
a
there
website that announced the dates.
is there details on these DLC packs, or is it just dates?
Uh, I have I have details of sorts.
Okay.
So FTR Revival Pack will be coming out with the game on June 29th. There's a Limitless Bunny Bundle coming out July 25th, so just about a month later. And then there's a Hookhausen Very Handsome, Very Evil pack coming out about a month later, August 22nd, which is
We got to
Hook
wait
and
till
Danhausen.
August to get the Danhausen pack, man.
Yep. Yeah, and of course I don't know if I said that before, but the Bunny and Keith Lee are in the Limitless Bunny bundle. Uh, and then you get okay. Then the other one is the Matt Hardy pack, and it says pre-order bonus available later separately. I don't know what that means. Available later separately. What? Well, I don't know what that means
So those
exactly.
would probably
Available
be
later
like
separately.
individual downloads, like like a few bucks a piece. You just get that one person, or if you have the season
Well,
pass, you just get them.
this says the AEW Fight Forever Matt Hardy pack is a pre-order bonus, but right after it says available later separately. Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I see what you're saying. Yeah, so you'll be able to buy them like the Bad Bunny. What is for
Yeah.
did you pre-order 2K23?
I don't think I did. I think I waited
So you
till
didn't
after
get the
release.
Bad Bunny character. I didn't either.
I
And
haven't
now he's
got
like
any of the
$10.
DLC. Yeah.
I got the season pass, so I'm getting all the packs that are coming in.
Last year with 2K, I bought like the $100 version, and I was like, man,
Is that the
because
NWO?
I don't know, it was just a
That was, I think, the
deluxe,
NWO.
and I don't know. It's just like I wish I wouldn't have, you know what I mean? Like kind of a thing. I have enjoyed this year's game just being the bare bones,
Yeah.
just as much.
So that's my Fight Forever news. That's when the DLC is coming out. Starting you get about once a month, give or take a few days. So that's that's the news for the DLC.
Good strategy for that.
Yep.
Hopefully there'll be even more stuff because yeah, I mean as far as characters go, that's literally that's already stuff that's been announced, right? So
Yeah.
um nothing, there's still no acclaimed or no,
No.
like you said, Evil Uno, um, none of that
Yeah.
stuff as
Tag
of
teams.
yet.
We're lacking on tag teams majorly. So
But the thought was is that this would be a game that has several seasons. So we'll see
yeah,
if that ends up.
like they're not making another game.
Well, yeah, I mean, at this point, it'd be hard to just crank out the yearly games, but maybe they could get
Yeah.
to that at some point.
Well, yeah. Kenny Omega said that's not they're not making a game every year. They're gonna add to this one somehow. They must have left that back door open.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think that that's a good strategy. It gets annoying having to buy a new game every year. I wish they would do it with 2K and like the Madden games and stuff like that, where it's just like, let me just, you pay like 20 more bucks or whatever, and the game updates with the new rosters. And,
Yeah.
you don't even have to download a new game. They just do like a mega update of it, just like they do with every other game. I know we have the technology, people. They do that with Fortnite. They do that with Call of Duty. They do that with all these
Yep.
freaking games. They change the whole game for the new season and then, just let the people do their.
It's easy.
But, people, they keep doing it because people keep buying these same game every year, same game with the new roster. People just keep buying them. And so there's no reason to change that model until it's not making any money, right? I mean,
Yeah.
kind of the thought.
I'm kind of counting tag teams that are already in the game here.
Let's see.
Because they're losing a lot of tag team. We talked about this. Tag teams are what they're missing. So I'm wondering how many they have. Let's see, so Best Friends, Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, Hardy Boys. I mean, are they gonna put Jurassic Express in the game?
They're
I
both
don't
in the
know.
game individually, right? So
Yeah.
makes sense to
Oh,
me.
and FTR. So if you don't count Jurassic Express, they got 5 tag teams in the game.
Hmm.
And that's not adding like the Dark Order or um, like Jericho and Sammy or anything like that.
Hmm.
So anyway,
Interesting.
or that also isn't adding Powerhouse Hobb and Ricky Starks, so I'm not considering them a tag team. So
Right.
there's 5 tag teams in the game: Best Friends, Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, Hardy Boys, and FTR.
Hmm.
That's what we got.
Interesting. I wonder how the tag team gameplay pans out. We'll have to wait and see
The
on
the
that.
the way they do tag team moves, it looks good.
Right.
They just didn't show like the button configurations or anything like that. But it looks good. There was a whole tag team trailer
Okay.
and gameplay and everything. So
Well,
I've
Vito,
watched all the videos.
switching gears here. I mean, obviously, probably the biggest story, and we got to get the elephant out of the room. We've
Yep,
put it
that's
off
right.
long
We
enough.
do.
Okay.
That's right. The Bloodline, right?
Yes.
What?
I mean,
Yeah,
of course.
The Usos, the Usos have left the
The
Bloodline.
Usos have
They have,
officially left the bloodline.
yes, Jimmy and Jay have kicked Roman and Solo,
Yeah.
and I heard there's going to be a Civil War match apparently.
They that segment was done very well. Once again, I was talking about this last week, just like when it comes to these segments,
Yeah,
I mean, they've just been so great. I mean, it is just like drama at its finest, even though it's so like Dragon Ball Z, like dragging out like every week, you know what I mean? Like we're gonna fight, but we have to do 20 million things before that, and I gotta do this,
yeah.
and that's it.
Everyone's wondering like which Samoans are they going to bring in to replace Jimmy and Jay?
Ooh, that's it. I mean, I haven't really thought about that. I mean, do you think that
Oh
that's
yeah,
something they're going to do, or?
there's things all over online, like trying to figure out which ones they're gonna bring in. Yeah, right here. Bloodline Civil War announced for Money in the Bank.
Well, you could bring in like a Jacob Fatu or whatever is probably the first name that people bring up if you're talking about that.
Yeah.
Um, you know, there's uh there's Rock's daughter, right? She's around there somewhere, isn't she?
Yeah, she's in that weird group in NXT that what's it called? Schism.
There you go.
She's in that group. So
I
I
guess
don't think she's gonna do that.
that's also an outside chance. Um,
I
who
have heard
else is out
rumors that
there?
all those guys are like they just stopped like appearing in MLW. I think all the Samoans were in MLW or something like that. So yeah,
Hmm.
all right. Now that we've talked about the biggest story in wrestling, what was the one you were going to talk about? The
No,
second biggest?
no, that was the one. Totally.
Oh, okay,
That's where I was
okay,
going
okay,
with
good.
that.
So
But
we're done today, or
yeah, I think we're gonna call it good.
okay? Oh no, okay. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
We, we got to
Let's
talk
talk about
about
AEW Collision.
AEW Collision, the return of Pepsi Phil.
Pepsi Phil.
Um, and we've been talking about this story. We've talked about it a lot. You know,
Yeah,
if
yeah, I know.
we add this up throughout the course of time, I mean, this is all played out during our whole podcast, and you can go back and
Yeah.
we've went back and forth and questioned this and that and the other thing, but I don't know. I mean, I kind of let you know where I stand as far as this goes. I mean, where are you at now with this promo? I mean, you had first kind of when it happened, you would kind of message me and you weren't really feeling it at the time. It seemed like it was like you know not your favorite thing in the world at first. Have you changed your stance on that? I mean, how are you approaching this now?
Well, I just pulled up the transcript.
I got the transcript right here too. Shall we go over this and we'll just dissect it
Ah,
as we go?
yeah, sure.
Okay.
Um, so well, let me just say overall, I he did exactly what I expected. He wasn't classy at all, like the Bucks and Kenny were. So, and I expected that. He wasn't too far off from his all-out media scrum. He didn't come back a changed man. He came back right on the ready to go heel CM Punk. He's ready for it, and that's what it's going to be. Classic heel CM Punk, and I guess I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I'm ready to hate him.
Very interesting stuff here. Um, it's almost like you don't even know how to, I don't even know how to like set this up and paraphrase this, but of course, you have CM Punk returning just like in a bubble, right? Like CM Punk returns a new show for AEW, which is filled with the return of several people that have seemingly been ousted from the main roster of AEW. So there's that kind of backstory. Of course, like you mentioned, the All Out scrum, the fallout of brawl out, if you will. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, literally, we've went back and forth, just like wondering, like, okay, what, what's real and what's for sale here, throughout the course of this whole thing. Uh, and now here we are, like, all I gotta say is Punk comes out. First and foremost, he has Larry the dog on his shirt.
Oh yeah,
All right.
and a pair of shoes on his neck. What?
So literally, like, that's just the shirt by itself is an homage to the whole thing. They're playing it up right there. And we talk about this promo, and I read this morning, and we'll get to that here. But let me just go through this promo, and we'll break it down piece by piece. Okay, so
All right.
this is the first words we have heard from anybody, and without directly saying so, I mean, as far as officially on AEW television, right? On the shows themselves. We haven't heard anybody say anything about the whole thing until this here. So
The Young Bucks and Kenny actually came out and said, we're specifically not going to talk about what happened. We want to talk about the future. We're moving on.
right.
They came out and said that.
So that was their quote back in
Yeah.
when they came back however long ago. Okay, so I think it did a all right job of setting that up. But anyway, I don't know if you guys heard, but I'm tired of being nice. And the crowd pops. Gone 10 months with a ruptured tricep tendon, tore it straight off the bone, but I'm still here.
Straight off the bone.
And that's information we just now got. Like,
Straight off the bone.
We haven't heard that until just recently that it was like that. But I'm still here, and as long as I am, this is the professional wrestling business. Interesting. It's a business of grown-ups. This has never been a popularity contest, so you have grown-ups, which is already a reference right there to the working with effing children line in the press scrum.
Yep.
Popularity contest. I mean, you can take that for what it is. We all know I would probably have lost that one a long time ago. So tonight, we're going to have a little conversation about the future. But first, I'd like to have a little conversation about my past, which I don't think is checkered. Actually, you kind of do have a little bit of a checkered past, CM Punk.
I'd say.
You kind of worded that a little bit oddly, but hey, you're in the moment. I understand. So he goes on to say, if you would have told 15-year-old me you're going to sell out Budokan, you're going to sell out MSG, you're going to sell out every building in Chicago with a roof, I'm not sure Little Punker would have believed you. It's because he didn't experience what present me standing here in front of you, all crazy bastards, has experienced. So, baby face stuff
for
right
crazy
there.
bastards too.
Right.
He's calling us crazy bastards. We love you, Phil.
This happens a lot in these promos nowadays. I mean, I think it happens across the board. It's like you have you don't know where you stand, right? You have this whole paragraph which is totally babyface, but then as we'll see here, not so much as we go on.
Yeah.
I'm tired of being nice. Tell me when I'm telling lies. He would go back to this. This is a thing that this is all built on. This is what we're trying to get to catch as the new phrase for the t-shirts. Tell me when I'm telling lies. You're gonna hear that a lot.
Yeah, that's his thing now.
I did all these things and I got here to this place riding a wave riding the backs of smart, passionate, professional wrestling fans like you. And oh gosh, I never fit in somewhere more in my entire life than I have here in professional wrestling. So putting over the company, putting over his time there, putting over the fans right there. More babyface stuff.
In Chicago.
Right. We're in Chicago, of course, but
Let's not forget that.
But he's also painting a broad picture of just the fans and of itself. He's not specifying Chicago at this point. I love you for it. I love you because you love me. You love me because I have never compromised. I've been unapologetic my entire career. I am me, and I couldn't have done this all without you. So once again, you can take that as Chicago or as a broader landscape of fans.
I really don't think. Do you think that when he goes to another city, they're going to cheer him?
Well, see, that's a fascinating dichotomy of this, right? Like, if you're just playing to your city, then how do we know the score? You know what I mean? I definitely see what you're saying.
I don't. In my opinion, I don't think he is.
But I mean, when he goes on here, I mean, this is a broad statement, okay? But it seems there are some people that hate me for the same reasons you all love me. So some people,
the rest of the world,
you could say this as fans or as wrestlers, doesn't specify, just says some people. It's a pretty vague statement, okay? So we'll forgive him for that one. Hey, listen, I understand the magnitude of me makes people uncomfortable. I very much understand that my mere presence makes people uncomfortable. Interesting statement. Who's uncomfortable by your presence? Possibly Tony Khan when you're embarrassing
literally
him?
everybody.
And when you're embarrassing him in the media scrum or what? I don't know. That's because I am the truth, and the truth is painful.
Yeah.
And people pop to this, and he said, thank you, and then they popped again.
So, I am the truth, and the truth is painful. What is that?
Well, I think he was talking about our truth there. No.
Our truth?
People everywhere, what's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
What's up?
Yeah. You know what song I did like? Just to take a small break from this?
What's that?
K Quick and Road Dog getting rowdy.
Get rowdy. That moves things.
Getting rowdy. Anyway, all right. Back to Phil.
So now, more fan stuff, and this is kind of where the lines start to blur a little bit here. He goes into this part where he says, this sign right here says CM Punk is my hero, and you can call me that. This sign here says Pepsi Phil. You can call me that. This sign,
what you call him.
Yeah, I just called him that. This sign here says CM Junk. You can call me that. Boo me, cheer me, love me, hate me. You all do it because you know I'm right. This is we've heard this from a lot of people. This is like, this is your typical tweener stuff, right? This is, so I'd say you're moving into more of a tweener.
And the only reason why he's getting away with this is because he's in Chicago. He does this in another city, he's getting booed out of the building.
It'll be interesting to see what happens there. Yes. Now here we go. Now here's the money line. Okay.
Yeah.
You can call me whatever you want. You know what David Zaslav calls me? Who's David Zaslav? Is that his agent or something?
I'll Google it.
I've been meaning to look that up. Like, what?
I'll Google it right now.
Okay.
I mean, our media department. Media department.
Media. I want to thank telefo.com for the transcript of this promo. I believe that's how you pronounce the website. I give a credit, a shout out to them while I'm thinking about it.
I mean, he's a musical artist, I guess.
David Zasloff. Oh yeah, is this one of these? Because he name dropped Joe Strummer from the Clash a little bit later on. He's a comedy guy.
Stand-up
Musical arts.
comedian, multi-instrumentalist, vocalist. Dracula in Women's Prison. He does something called Dracula in Women's Prison. Anyway.
Interesting.
Wow.
Well, that dude calls him apparently One Bill Phil. And that's because I am the one true genuine article in a business full of counterfeit bucks, which gets a pop. This line was apparently, I saw some kind of news thing on Twitter or something like that.
I'll go.
Meltzer is saying that this line was pre-approved by Tony Khan. So there you go. Everyone's obvious.
Who said that?
That's a Meltzer thing, supposedly. According to Meltzer's sources, this line was approved. This line was ran by Tony, and he said it was fine. So that tells you all you need to know right there, right? I mean, gets a pop. He says, the king is back, baby. And I have to do I do have a lot of things to get off my chest. Is what he follows that up with. There's a pop, and then we get a slight F the Elite chant, echoing a similar FCM Punk chant. Which didn't that happen in the same arena? Wasn't that in Chicago when that also happened?
They went to Chicago before the Elite got booed out. But FCM Punk happened in every other arena during the best of 7 trios match with Death Triangle. But yeah. I do got to mention after the counterfeit buck thing that the Young Bucks changed their Twitter handle thing to, if it were 2018, we'd already have a counterfeit Bucks shirt available on PWT. Kill it, y'all.
See, so, yeah. So they're working it as well, right? I mean,
yeah.
All right, folks. A little bit of technical difficulties never hurt anyone. We're back at some point. I don't know what happened. Well, we were talking about the Punk promo. We were talking about this led to a 6-man tag. Punk back in the ring. I did not get to see the match itself, so tell me, how did Pepsi Phil look in this thing?
He looked all right, he's an old man, but he's in good shape still, so he does his thing. They kept him and Joe out of it for a while so they can build up the fans' anticipation to see Punk and Joe in the ring since I think they said 2005 or 2007. Wow. I don't know, early 2000s. So when they finally faced off, there was like a little shouting match in the middle of the ring, and then it went into a good old-fashioned Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn soccer punch or hockey punch match. It was cool. The Punk Joe thing was a good payoff. It was well worth the wait to hold out in the match. But ultimately, Punk pinned Juice. So, FTR and Punk went over. And I saw a video at the end of it where, one of those after collision went off the air type things, where Punk and FTR were in the ring with some kid who brought a sign on there, said support the LGBTQ youth. Talked about his friend who had cancer and he was transgender and stuff like that. So he did a little, what's it called, a moment where he sent out a message on his first night back. So that was good.
All right. Little community service there.
I just want to shout out to my vintage Stone Cold Slurpee cup here.
Love that cup. I've
From
got
the old All-Star game.
Got the rock one somewhere. I did have that one, but I don't know, Mo.
I mean, I don't remember the WWE All-Star game or WWE All-Stars or whatever it is, but cup's cool. Those little movements. Oh, wait, there it is.
3D. It's like those cards we used to get back in the day. I love those.
So, anyway.
Also want to mention about this AEW Collision show before we move on from it. I heard from a few folks, as far as the overall review, that it had kind of a different feel. We had the different announcers, right? So what did you think of that? And did you get more of did you feel like there was more of a concentration on matches instead of like other stuff during the show as well? That's kind of
I do have a note coming out of Collision, actually. One more match that I want to talk about. As you said, the commentators were Kevin Kelly and Nigel McGuinness. And JR showed up for the main event, which was not good. Poor JR had some problems.
Yeah, he fell or something.
So
right?
He was not talking very good.
Right.
So, which he apologized for. I don't think he should apologize for anything, but it was very cool of him to do that. But there was a match between Buddy Matthews, but Dasha was the announcer for that night, and she announced him as Buddy Murphy.
Oh, gosh.
I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah, the lower three said Buddy Matthews, and she announced him as Buddy Murphy. I was like, oh, no. But anyway, during that match, Buddy used Rhea's submission.
Yep.
Which, he's with Rhea Ripley. And there was a sign in the audience that said, shoot, I can't remember, but it was something about crying, something about him being mad or sad because Dom was with his mommy or something like that. It was just another thing of poking fun at him because Rhea's with Dominic on in WWE. But then I had sent a message to you when this happened, but before I get to this, Kevin Kelly did not know how to say Andrade's name. He kept calling him like Ilio or Idolo. He was basically pronouncing it as it's spelled. And I was like, oh man, he was butchering it the entire match. I wish he just would start calling him on Andrade. But what's funny is Nigel McGuinness was hitting it every time. El Idolo. And I was like, oh man, Nigel, just turn to him and tell him to stop saying it. But he put the figure 4 on Buddy Matthews, and I was like, oh, how cool! His father-in-law gave him that move. And then he bridged. And I was like, no way! He's using his wife's finisher. And then Buddy Matthews tapped. And I was like, oh! He won with his wife's finisher. Yeah. So there's a little thing right there. They both used their their significant others' moves, but Andrade won with his wife.
It's kind of interesting how that works, right? Like how they're split up like that, and that's also the case for Buddy's stablemate, right? Alistair or Malachi Black
Yes.
and Zelina
He's with
Vega,
Zelina Vega, yeah.
right? Over in the E. So it's weird how um, the E they
The
they
Fed.
they the Fed departs with the guys, but they kept a hold of all the women in the relationships.
Oh, I didn't think about that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Very
Yeah.
interesting how that works.
Oh, the other part what I was gonna say. Oh, Charlotte had put something on Twitter saying like, love that move or did a good job or something to have to do with him using her finisher, and his response back was, I learned from the best, but how come you didn't tell me it was that hard to bridge? So, so he's basically giving her props for doing a move that was hard for him to do because he kind of struggled getting the bridge up coming off of his neck.
Yeah. No, definitely. It's something that that probably just the female body is maybe more better inclined to stretch that way.
She's longer and lankier, so
That
it's
too.
probably easier for her body to move it like that.
A couple news bits here I want to go over with you. We'll stay on this AEW path.
Okay.
Have a couple little tidbits here. Let's see here. The premiere date.
Next pay-per-view.
So, if you didn't know, the AEW Collision, obviously, and this really shouldn't even be news. I don't know, but it's like, ideally, you want the literally. Dave said this on Observer Radio. It was like it was a piece of news. It was literally about how the June 17th debut was picked because there wasn't anything else going on that night, which is like obviously like of course I feel stupid for even reading that. Hold on. So I almost feel stupid for even reading it, but here's another thing. I thought I'd bring this up to you. I thought you'd think this is a great video. This is about the AEW referees. Were on you saw this on this AEW, and maybe you can explain this to me how they gave a explanation for why table usage is allowed.
Okay, yes. First of all, I do not miss an episode of Hey EW. Okay, I love that show. I love RJ City. Anyway, that aside, at the end they got to a point where they said it's refs' discretion, but they said basically how you use a table comes down to context. They're like, did you move the table? Are you using it as a weapon? Was the table just sitting there when you used it? I mean, did you use it in malice? Like that's what they're saying. If like you move the table and set it up as a weapon, then that would be a disqualification. But if the table was just sitting there and you walked the guy over there and threw him through it or laid him on there and do it, then that's not a disqualification. So when AEW uses the timekeeper table, the reason why they don't disqualify you for that is because, I mean, that's just part of the arena. The table is sitting there, and who's going to fault you for doing that?
Right.
So that's why. But if you were to move that table, take the sheet off, move it to like in the ring or something, that would be a disqualification.
It comes down to incidental contact, I guess,
Yes.
is what we're looking for.
And basically, it also comes down to ref's discretion. And there's only been like 5 disqualifications in AEW, so there's that.
So apparently, also, switch gears here, a couple WWE bits real quick. Something that Nick Khan said on some interview that he did about how we're going to get more holiday weekend PLEs on the WWE side of things. Do you agree with this? Are you willing to sacrifice your holiday weekends centering it around wrestling? I mean,
what holiday are we talking about? Christmas?
well, I mean, he wants to do more. Payback is going to be Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
Of course, they just did the AEW just did Double or Nothing on Memorial Day weekend, so on and so forth. But apparently they want to tie these together more. Apparently they think that there's some sort of a business connection, which I guess makes sense. I mean, that kind of goes back all the way to like the Starrcade days, right? How that was tied to Thanksgiving. And and then later on Survivor Series, countering, Vince countering that. So what do you think? Wrestling on holidays? I mean, I love
it. I don't hate it.
I mean,
those aren't really big holidays. I mean, maybe for Memorial Day, I camp on Memorial Day. When is Labor Day? I don't even know when Labor Day is.
It's the first weekend in September.
Yeah, that don't bother me really.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's also a big camping.
No, weekend. Don't do it on Arbor Day. Arbor Day is really important to me.
Right, yeah. or by God, St. Patrick's Day or whatever.
Yeah, don't mess with those type of holidays.
Well,
if you want to pull one on Christmas, let's do it. Let's do a PLE on Christmas. Why not? Let's do it.
You know what's interesting that he says that, because you have freaking WrestleMania every year, right? Is usually like either last week of March or first week of April. Yeah. But if you notice, they always make sure to never run it against Easter.
I was going to say, with those dates, you're flirting with Easter.
Right. They've never done that. Every year I'm worried that they are going to collide.
I think that's what Nick Khan is setting us up for. He's like,
man.
Don't do it to us. In 2 years, we have to do it in Easter. And they're like, no. If we tell them now, in 2 years, we can do it. Yep. Get ready, dude. WrestleMania is going to be on Easter in 2 years. I guarantee it. That's what Nick Khan's setting us up for.
That would be kind of a nightmare, but maybe not. You know what I mean? Maybe it would be fine. Get stuff out of the way earlier on in the day or something like that. I don't know. It could have its advantages. So
do we have I think before we run out of time, we should talk about the 2 new matches that were added to Forbidden Door. I don't think we talked about those.
Yes, let's preview this Forbidden Door show, because by the time we talk again, it'll be ancient history. So
because Sonata,
you have the card up in front of you there.
Yeah, well, Sonata put out an open challenge, and much to the internet's chagrin, Jungle Boy Jack Perry, with Hook, I might add, accepted the challenge. So it will be Jungle Boy versus Sonata for the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship. Okay? So that's match number 1 that was added. Now this next match is going to be very interesting, because I'm not sure exactly what's going to happen. Next match, Hiroshi Tanahashi has challenged MJF for the AEW World Championship. MJF says no.
Right.
MJF says, thanks, bud. I'm going to pass. So It's been made official. MJF will face Hiroshi Tanahashi for the title at Forbidden Door, but he says it's not happening. So when we get there and they line up, Hiroshi Tanahashi's in the ring, we'll see what happens, I guess.
We only have so much time.
A lot of people think MJF's just going to walk to the ring and kick him in the nuts and leave.
They could do something like that.
Which
Possible.
would be a shame because I really like Tanahashi and I would love to see him wrestle MJF.
I think people would be pretty disappointed.
Yeah.
Do we really only have these 4 announced? These 2 in addition to the Omega Ospreay?
Omega, Ospreay, Danielson, Okada, Sonata, Jungle Boy, and Tanahashi MJF.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, guess they got a lot of work to do between freaking Dynamite, Rampage, and Collision.
Oh, shoot. Yeah, we have 6 days.
Right. It's next weekend. Or this weekend, rather, if we're talking about this sequentially.
How many matches do we have at the last one? Hold on a second.
There was a good 9 or 10 matches on that on last year.
13.
13, wow. I underestimated.
So we're looking at 9 matches in 6 days. Wow.
Well, hey,
that's kind of crazy.
I would say, this would be the time to throw out some predictions of what we could see. I can't think of any off the top of my head, though. I mean, obviously, you got the rest of the Blackpool guys that don't have a match yet. They should be in there somewhere. Probably get thrown into like a 6-man with somebody.
Coda.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, yeah. Okay, of course.
Yeah.
They've gotta do this. They've gotta do that, right? The whole elite versus
you add a Japanese guy to Blackpool Combat Club and then add Kota Ibushi to the elite. Do something with them.
Oh yeah, that's right, because Omega is busy in this match and Danielson's busy in this match. So it would just be, it'd be Hung Bucks against like a 3-piece then.
Yeah.
What we'd be looking at. Some kind of mishmash. You got
I'm drawing a blank.
wait a minute. Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre has been teased apparently.
They're gonna Orange Cassidy and the Pure Champion. I can't think of his name. I'm drawing a blank.
Garcia?
No, Japanese guy. Shibata.
Oh, okay.
Is gonna wrestle Zack Sabre Jr. and Garcia on Dynamite.
Oh, okay.
So it could be, they could add Orange Cassidy versus Zack Sabre Jr. and Shibata versus Garcia.
They could do that.
Does Shibata still wrestle for New Japan?
From what I understand, Shibata, I mean, he's like limited in what he can do. It's kind of like having Flair out there or something like that,
No way.
Right? Isn't it? It's like
no way.
He can't really.
He's a pure champion.
He can't really take bumps. Well, yeah, you can just like do like chain wrestling if you're the pure champion. You can just get in there and have like a mat wrestling match. But
I guess you're right.
But Shibata can't bump like a whole lot or like at all, from what I understand.
Huh.
So like he can be in there, but like he can't really can't really do much. I'm pretty sure, but they hide it very well. So yeah, no, a lot of ground to be covered. We'll see what happens. Of course, we will next week on the show attempt to do some sort of review. Even though
next week we'll break down Forbidden Door.
Right. We'll find some way somehow to watch it. Whether we have to break into the people's houses and break through their forbidden doors.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Oh, I ain't afraid to knock down some forbidden doors. So.
Anything else you want to hit before we get out of here, BVT, my man?
No, I think we said it all.
We'll talk about more Forbidden Door next week. We'll preview. I'm sure Money in the Bank will be like a week out or something at that point. The next week, so we can go ahead and do that. Maybe talk a little bit more stuff. I don't know. Maybe someone will get their arm bit in the meantime. Who knows? Until next time, thank you very much for joining us. Big Vito T, Scissor Me, my man. Super Kick Weekly. Subscribe. Leave a rating. We'll see you next time.
Keep your forbidden doors locked.
Keep your forbidden doors closed. Keep your forbidden door out of my doors.